Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin Leigh. I'm coming from the Sustainability Institute here in North Charleston. We're coming from the main office here in Mount Pleasant at this point. The Sustainability Institute is an environmental nonprofit, and we've got a couple of programs that are funded either through local governments, national governments, or other various agencies that I think that the agents would be particularly interested in. Just a brief about the Sustainability Institute. As an environmental nonprofit, one of our main goals is to build capacity in others. And so that can mean anyone along the lines of the building community, of which the realtors are, real estate is really the first step in that. And so we see a lot of opportunity in that you can assist your clients in being a resource, and we want to support you in that endeavor. So the idea of being a capacity building organization means that obviously we won't do it for you, but we'll give you all the resources you need to succeed. So there's a couple of things that we wanted to make available to you and to see if that was something that you'd be interested in. On the whole, our organization has a vision of a sustainable South Carolina, which has varying different definitions to everyone. Obviously for us, it's just let's leave enough for the future generations to succeed as well. One of the things that we're going to be discussing today is energy. Energy is invisible, and unfortunately it's not the sexiest topic in the whole world. So one of the things we want to do is show you a couple graphs. This graph that's on your screen now is the reason that I got into the industry. Don't really concern yourself too much with the words, although if you can read them, fantastic. This basically describes how energy enters into and out of our country. To the left of your screen, you're going to see our sources of energy, or our supply. To the right of your screen, you see how we use it. And on the left, you can see in our supply of energy, the big three at the top are coal, natural gas, and crude oil. What people are most concerned with nowadays is on the bottom left. These are our imports. The United States currently imports about 1/3 of our overall energy supply. And one could argue that in many cases the locations that we get it from are not always the most friendly with us. So one of the things that we were trying to do is to use our domestic production as efficiently as possible. And on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see that all of the energy in our country goes to one of four places. It goes to residential, commercial, industrial, and transportation. Transportation being at the bottom is one of those things that gets a lot of attention on national media. But in the grand scheme of things, it is about 1/4 of our overall energy supply. And the frustrating part for me was that I realized that no matter what I do, I'm not going to get my car to get 60 miles a gallon. But what I can do is cut my energy bill at my own house in half, and that will offset whatever car I intend to purchase. So the idea behind this whole program is how do we cut residential energy bills and therefore increase the purchasing potential of the homeowner enough to make as much of a difference as possible, hopefully to offset how much energy we import into our country. Also, commercial plays a very large part in this, and so we may discuss that briefly, but for the most part we're going to be talking about residential today. And incidentally, this is going to be a truncated version of our energy conservation workshop. I'm going to show you basically 2 slides to show you what potential we have in front of us. But for the most part, if you are interested in learning more, we have workshops available pretty much twice a month, and we'd love to have you. So this screen here that you're looking at is how we use our energy in the United States. I'm going to bring it a little more local and talk about South Carolina. You're probably not surprised to hear that Charleston has some of the, or not Charleston, but South Carolina is one of the highest consumption of energy users in the entire U.S. We actually rank 17th in the nation for per capita energy use. Now that means 33 other states in the Union are less wasteful than we are as South Carolinians. Now as South Carolinians, I mean that a North Carolinian uses less energy than you do. And so the idea is how can we effectively use that energy and redirect it into something that's a little more important. Ideally it would be our homes and families. So most people are surprised to hear that South Carolina actually has some of the lowest energy prices in the country. So, I mean, think about it in your own home. How many of you feel like your energy bill is low? In truth, South Carolina, our electricity costs are about a full cent lower than the national average. Now, what that means is if our local utility providers decided that they wanted to just bring our cost of energy to the national average, we can each add about $70 to our energy bill. And so in South Carolina, we're on a precipice. We've got a couple of decisions that we should make now. What we want to do is to focus on energy now while it's cheap and easy, because if we wait, we may not have the money to invest. And so this is one of those things that is a central theme in everything that our Sustainability Institute does. Now, I'm going to get on my soapbox here, and I typically don't stay on it for very much longer than just a few minutes. But one of the things that we have been told is that there are 2 new nuclear reactors slated to come online in South Carolina by 2016. Now, I have a master's degree, and the only job that I can get at a nuclear reactor is probably sweeping the floor. And so one of the things that we want to do is to really jumpstart a green economy. And the idea is pretty simple. If you give me the same amount of money and responsibility for the same number of households, I'll remove the need for the power plant. And I'll do it by putting hundreds and thousands of people back to work. Everyone from contractors who can do the work to realtors who can sell the work, to architects, engineers, all of the people that are rolled up in selling and buying a home. There's a lot of money to be made, and there's a lot of progress to be made, specifically targeting the energy industry. So as we progress further, we've started with talking about the United States and how we use energy. We understand the situation that we're in South Carolina, and I want to bring it home and maybe use your own home as an example here. What you see now is what's called a home energy profile. It's the likely end uses of energy in our homes today. And one of the reasons that I wanted to show you this was to give you an idea of where we want to put our focus. You really want to put your energy into what the best point of attack is. And based on this graph, you can see that heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, basically keeping ourselves comfortable, comprises about half of our overall energy bill. So in your own, on your own, think about what last month's energy bill was and cut it in half, and that's what heating and cooling costs you. Now again, there are water heating and lighting and electronics and refrigeration. All of these are very important things, but you want to make sure that you can maximize your budget. The idea is that no one has an unlimited budget. Incidentally, if you do find somebody with an unlimited budget, if you could give them my business card, I sure would appreciate it. So in the grand scheme of things, when we target HVAC, we're not really targeting replacing HVAC systems. The idea behind this mantra is a house that is well sealed and well insulated is easier to heat and cool. And what I find is that a lot of homeowners don't target these improvements. They get swept under the rug because they don't truly appreciate how important they are. So one of the things that I'm going to talk to you today about is how do we create an infrastructure around those decisions? How do we make these decisions easier for the homeowner, and how can we help you if a homeowner asks you for these things? And so I want to give you some perspective. This is the greenhouse. This is our demonstration facility in North Charleston off of Montague Avenue. This house is like a lot of the houses in the neighborhood. It's post-World War II construction. It's built in 1941. And when we first purchased the house looked like this. And, you know, so when we purchased the house, we purchased it from a family who was struggling. And so we bought the house and we realized what we had purchased. We had pretty much every problem imaginable. Now, ideally, our customers wouldn't really be struggling with every single one of these, but we got the idea that we were going to take these problems, show the best opportunities for making these improvements, and then we turned this into our demonstration facility so that anyone who's struggling with any one of these problems can come to us. We can show them how to fix it and get them together with professionals that are specifically designed to help with those issues. So we're acting as a resource to the community. You know, just as an aside, the house, as we finished with it, is not struggling with energy bills anymore. The family that lived there before us had energy bills around $270 a month, which I would love to be able to tell you is abnormal, especially for a house like this. This particular house is only 800 square feet, but because of those problems, that family was really hurting, and we needed to figure out a way to get the energy bills from what they were to what they are now. Now, as of 2003, we did a renovation, and that renovation, we had to create a scope of work that we could expect any contractor to achieve. And based on that scope of work, which is simple, cheap, and easy things, we were able to cut our energy bills and recreate the house to look a lot more manageable. And since that time, we've never had a bill over 70. And so in the grand scheme of things, what we're talking about here is $200 a month worth of energy savings with a simple and practical renovation. All we did was focus on what we call the building envelope, or the exterior shell. Now, the nice part about this process is it's a while you're in there approach. In many cases, the clients that you're going to talk to, you're going to walk them through a house and you're going to show them the potential of that house. And you're going to know before anyone if they have plans to repaint the interior, to redo a kitchen, to redo a bathroom. One of the things that we want to be able to assist you is, while they're in there, let's cut their energy bills in half. And so I'll give you a couple of ideas about what we're talking about. As part of this process, we're really focused on what I call the trifecta of building science: air leakage, leakage in the ductwork, and insulation. All three of these things comprise how much money we're going to spend on heating and cooling. You add in whatever efficiency of HVAC system you want, but ultimately the amount of heat that's lost from the house is going to be equal to the amount of energy that you're going to expend trying to keep the occupants comfortable. And so, and just give you an idea about one of the things that we're targeting is the attic hatch. Now, one of the things that we think about when we talk about air sealing is, where are the large holes? Now, this is one of those locations that is undoubtedly the largest hole in any house, specifically because it goes unnoticed. And it's not perceived as a hole, it's a door. One of the things that I've noticed, every house that I go into, this particular attic hatch is a pull-down stair, and I typically find it in a central hallway. Now, usually when I look up at it, there's a little gap where that string is that is open to the attic. And so one of the problems is, let's consider where this is located. If this is located in a central hallway, what else is located in that central hallway? More often than not, you find a central return, and right over top of that central return is a thermostat. And so it's actually a misnomer that heat rises. Heat will actually flow in any direction. The direction that it's going to flow is from the hot areas to the cold areas. And so if it's 150 degrees in a Charleston attic, that heat's going to want to flow down. And if that attic hatch is not air sealed and insulated, it's going to flow down through that attic hatch at much greater rates. And then what's going to happen is that heat's going to come into contact with the thermostat and trick it into activating unnecessarily. And so even though the rest of the house may be perfectly comfortable, because there's a lot of leakage through that attic hatch, your energy bills go up. And so it's simple as air sealing, and which in this case we're just talking about some simple weather stripping. But on top of that, you can very easily create a cover box that goes along with this. And by insulating and air sealing that, it's one of the quickest and easiest ways to drop your energy bills. And it's directly related to how much your energy bill is going to be associated with HVAC systems. So now you can do this just simply by creating a cover box. What I do recommend is hiring a contractor to create this for you, but a handy homeowner could make this happen in a very short period of time. Go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy all the materials you need for about $40. Now you can buy these online as well. They're usually called attic tents or attic cover boxes. You can get them for about $125. Same thing can happen with a scuttle hole, the idea that attic hatch that you just push up and out of the way. It's as simple as air sealing and insulation. And what you're trying to do is to protect that thermostat from activating unnecessarily. This is one of the largest problems that we find in homes, and it has a very simple and cheap solution. Now, another one that we find a lot is recessed lighting. There's been a great call for recessed lighting in homes over the last 15 years. They're pretty, and as a result, homeowners often install them. And I can't argue with the fact that they're pretty, because they are. So one of the things, we have them in this room right now. One of the things that we need to consider when we are looking at recessed lighting is how much air leaks in through the recessed lighting into the house. Let me show you why. This is a diagram of what a recessed light looks like. Now, the bulb that you install in there, if it's a 100-watt light bulb, one of the things to consider is a 100-watt light bulb will reach temperatures of about 475 degrees. Now, that's hot enough to light paper on fire. And so as a result, what the manufacturers do is they cut great big holes in the top of the housing to let that heat dissipate into the attic. Those great big holes, unfortunately, will allow a lot of hot attic air to intrude into the building. We were working on a house here recently in the past couple of months that had 16 of these in the kitchen. Strangely enough, the kitchen was 6 or 7 degrees hotter than the rest of the house, and this was the primary culprit. And it's a fairly simple and easy thing to do. Now, it's not just air sealing. Because this bulb can get so hot, the code doesn't allow you to install insulation right up against it. And so for every single one of these recessed lightings, can lights, one of the things you can consider is within a foot all the way in each direction, there's no insulation and it's wide open for air leakage. I'll teach you a little auditor secret. As you're going through these houses and kind of looking for potential improvements, look for spider webs. Spider webs, this is a biological fact, spiders will only build webs where air is flowing. And so if you look up at a recessed light and you see spider webs, you know that is a great source of leakage for that home. And there's really easy solutions here. Now, typically a contractor will have two choices. You can either build a box to cover that recessed can light and then air seal the box and then put insulation right on the top. Or you can just install a brand new one. Now, the brand new one probably will cost somewhere between $15 and $20, but what you can get is what's called an air-sealed and IC-rated can light. IC stands for insulation contact, and it means that you can just pile the insulation right on top of it. Now, those are the two things that, above all others, I see as a quick and easy opportunity for many houses. And so as you're going through these houses, have a look out. See if there's a gap in the attic hatch, or see if there are spider webs in that recessed can light, and from there we can kind of determine the potential for that house and how much energy they can save. It's the new lighting assembly. It's fairly easy, and you can go to Lowe's and Home Depot and buy these. It's your standard recessed can light, but one of the things you're looking for is what's called IC rated. And IC stands for insulation contact, and then you're also looking for an air sealed can light. And they'll typically be listed on there. Home Depot in particular has a pretty good setup where you can kind of look at the differences between the two. All right. So one of the things that we include as part of our new programs is an energy assessment. Now, in the past they've been called audits, but what we found is that people don't like the word audit, especially around April. So what we've done is change it to a little more warm and fuzzy, calling it an energy assessment. And now a professional energy auditor, one of the things that they're going to use is what's called a blower door. Now, for any home that you would classify in the drafty category, what this piece of equipment does is it'll put a number value to the draftiness of the house. It measures how leaky a house is. And the idea is very simple. The more leakiness you can get rid of, the more efficient that house is going to be. And so this particular piece of equipment is used by auditors and contractors to seal these houses up as tight as possible and reduce those energy bills. And they can do it in a scientific and scheduled fashion to make sure that not only do we provide safety to people and property, but we can drop those energy bills. Another piece of equipment is called a duct blaster. And so anybody who is struggling in their own homes with maybe one room that always seems to be hotter or colder than another, or they can't seem to keep certain rooms comfortable, in many cases that's relative to duct leakage. And so this duct blaster measures duct leakage and allows the contractor to find that duct leakage very quickly and fix it. And so what would have been a 2-day job can very easily turn into a 2-hour job. So it's quick and it's easy. Now, what your professional energy auditor will do is they will perform energy modeling. Now, this energy modeling is basically a computer program that predicts energy use. And from that, they have the ability to measure how much energy is going to be saved by any particular improvement and measure the likely cost of that improvement. And so they can give the homeowner a cost-benefit analysis. And like I said, because we don't have an unlimited budget, this gives us the ability to determine what's the best use of our money when we are focused on energy efficiency. Now, that's not it. The next thing that they're going to do is they can provide a scope of work to a contractor. Now, in the real estate world, you agents have probably talked with contractors a fair amount. And we all know that us in the building industry, we speak a little different language. And what this does is it takes the cost-benefit analysis and turns it into contractor speak. And so contractor shall make this happen. And as a result, we can guarantee those energy savings. Now, from all that, we have the ability to answer any what-if question. What would happen if I added more insulation? Or if I reduced the leakage in the house to a reasonable level? Or if I put in new windows or a tankless water heater? We'll know in advance how much money you can save. We know in advance how much it's going to cost. and as a result, we know what to invest in. That's really the whole point of that energy assessment. Now, these assessments have been around for decades. One you're probably most familiar with is your miles per gallon for your car. Obviously, we're targeting that pretty heavily now in the automotive industry. The only thing that the energy rating does is instead of focused on a car, we're going to put it on a house. And what our home energy rating system does is, that's what HERS stands for, that applies that process to a house. Now, in this particular example, one of the things I want you to know is how much potential this may have. In the European Union, they have mandated these ratings to be happening on every single house sold, constructed, or rented. And they did that about 5 years ago. Now, I'll go on record as to say the United States is probably never going to make that happen. But it is important to know that the nice part about our country is we have the ability to make money off of something like this. Specifically, if you have a homeowner who is targeted energy efficiency, what we want to be able to offer you is an infrastructure that will support you to make sure that your customer can be happy. I'll show you some examples of that. Now, we've probably all seen green building standards before. The idea that Energy Star has been around, actually they're celebrating almost their 30th birthday now. Energy Star is the granddaddy of them all. Earthcraft House is another local, it's regional green building program. The National Home Builders Association also has one. And the pinnacle of green building is really LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And they have one that all of these are associated with residential construction. Now, the problem we find is that these are all relative to new construction. What do we have to do for existing construction? What can you do to prove that an existing home is just as energy efficient as a brand new home? And the idea behind that is pretty simple. And it's one that you already have access to. MLS Listings. Now, I was talking with the staff here, and I understand that you guys currently have an MLS system that allows you to include what's called the HERS index score in your MLS listing. Now, to put things in perspective, the HERS index is a relative use energy scale. It puts a number to how efficient the home is. A home that receives a 100 is basically what you can expect from a standard house built to code. Anything lower than 100 means that it's more efficient than code. And one of the things that I will tell you is, from a sales standpoint, I can take a home that was built in 1885 and I can have it compete with a home that was built yesterday to a green building standard. The difference is this HERS index will help you prove it. And so if you have the opportunity to include a HERS index in your MLS listing, my advice is to do so, because it will help you compete existing construction with new construction. Now, as part of that HERS index, one of the things that you will need to do is to consult with an energy auditor. And one of the things that we do as the Sustainability Institute is we work with a network of these individuals. And so if you need a HERS index on any house, what you can do is come to us and we'll hook you up with any HERS rater that can help you with those services. Now, as part of this HERS rating is something that's been around for about 15 to 20 years now. But it's just starting to reach the real estate world. Homeowners are starting to ask for energy efficiency now. And one of the great things that you have at your disposal is you are their resource. You are their advocate. If you know that your customer is going to want to invest in their home and maybe redo a kitchen or redo a bathroom or repaint or whatever, while they're in there, let's include energy efficiency as a result of that. And the HERS index and the corresponding energy assessment that is done to get that HERS index is really their quickest and easiest way to get there. Now, Vermont did it obviously as part of this slide that you're looking at now. They did that about 2010. And from what I understand, you guys all have access to the HERS index in your current MLS listings. If you'd like to include the HERS index in your MLS listing, feel free to give us a call, and I'll have our contact information at the rear end of this presentation. Obviously, including energy efficiency in a home, if the homeowner asks for it, we'll give you the resources you need to make sure that they can get it. But if a homeowner's not asking for it, it's often a fairly difficult sell. You don't want to lead with it, because if the homeowner truly doesn't care about it, it could potentially make one house look bad over another. So what we want to do is to make it as easy as possible for you. And so as a result, the Sustainability Institute has launched a program called Charleston Wise. Now, Charleston Wise is an energy efficiency retrofit program. And this program
we're targeting a 20% efficiency increase. Now, in my opinion, 20% is a slam dunk on almost every house in Charleston. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to entice homeowners to start thinking about how they might be able to invest in energy efficiency in either the home they live in or the home they want to purchase. And so what we're doing is to try to allow them to reduce the upfront cost and the overall cost of those improvements. And so currently our program offers up to $900 in instant rebates if they agree to focus on energy-related improvements to their house. So if you have a client that is going to focus on energy efficiency, we can get you rebates that'll help that make it a little easier. Now, we can also offer access to state and national tax incentives. If that is something that is something that you feel as though your client needs access to, we can assist you with that. Now, on top of that, we can combine our incentives with any of the incentives available from our local utility companies. For example, SCE&G currently has a program that offers up to $2,500 worth of rebates as long as you focus on energy efficiency. And so by combining ours with theirs, there's the potential to get $3,500 worth of rebates to your client. Now, SCE&Gs are mail-in, ours are instant. And so when you think about it, the two programs together offer instant rebates to reduce the upfront cost and long-term rebates to reduce the overall cost. So in the grand scheme, our job here as Charleston Wise is to kind of incorporate energy efficiency into a process that is easier for the homeowner and it's going to be easier for you to incorporate. So what I hope is that as agents of Agent Owned, you can say if you have a client that is interested in energy efficiency, that you can introduce them to this program and give them access to the rebates that they should have access to. Another thing that we can offer is access to additional financing options. I'm not going to really go into a great deal of detail about this, but mortgage tools like energy improvement mortgages and 203K loans can very easily be folded on top of this. And so again, we can make this process as easy as possible for the homeowner and should hopefully reduce the amount of time it takes for a sale. And we can help you through that. So again, with Charleston Wise, what we want to be able to offer you with this program is infrastructure. Now that infrastructure should specifically support you and streamline your sales process. And so if you have a client, let us help you with the infrastructure to support that. We can assist you with energy assessments to include in your MLS listings, and we also have a network of our best local contractors. What we've done is created a home performance guild, a network of industry professionals that can help you reduce the energy consumption in a home. And then, of course, we also offer research support for local housing stock. Another of our programs is called the Impact Project. Now, with this project, what we've done is we've selected 200 homes in the Charleston area. Now, of these 200 homes, we're going to do energy assessments on every single one of them. The idea behind this is to produce a case study that'll help you as the seller to kind of identify what is the best point of attack in any particular home. So if your homeowner asks for it, you'll know you can be the resource to let them have access to the resources that they need. So in that respect, the Impact Project is going to help us determine best practices and cost effectiveness for energy efficiency measures. And we're specifically targeting houses in the Charleston areas. And so if in this particular situation, if you need access to numbers, statistics, and case studies, you can come to us and we'll assist you with that. The idea is we can help you increase your knowledge and act as a resource for your clients. We kind of have the idea behind this program is that we're not going to do it for you. What we want is just the same way that BASF operates in their potential. They say that they don't make the plane, they make the plane faster. What we want to be able to do is we want to help you with your process so you can continue to be a resource for your community. So there's actually a fair amount of things that we spoke about today. Obviously, we introduced you to the Sustainability Institute. If there is something energy related and you need assistance with, feel free to contact us on the web. You can also have information about Charleston Wise. Now, there's one additional thing that I do want to mention about Charleston Wise. We currently have $900 in rebates. After Labor Day, these rebates are going to go up. I can't tell you exactly how much extra we're going to be able to offer, but I'm hoping it's a significant increase in the amount of rebates that we can offer. So if you like, I'll be able to send emails to each of you to let you know how much extra. You can also go to charlestonwise.com and find out a lot of information about the program. Or if it's okay with everyone, I'll make that press kit available by email. And if anybody would like that, feel free to either shoot me an email, either at info@sustainabilityinstitute.sc.org or info@charlestonwise.com, and I'll be able to send you that press kit so you can give it to your clients and, again, act as that resource. Feel free to also give me a call at the following number as well.
Charleston Wise, that's just for the city of Charleston.
Yes. Now, this is a great question. The question was, where can Charleston Wise be available? Now, currently, probably until the end of the year, we're only going to be serving the city of Charleston residents. And so if they don't live within the city limits of Charleston, we're probably not going to be able to offer rebates as a result of Charleston Wise. However, we can give you access to our contractor network and all of SCNG's rebates. And so feel free to call us for that. That's, again, one of the reasons why we're there. After the first of the year, our plan is to grow to Charleston County, then to Berkeley and Dorchester, and then to increase beyond that. And so although it may not be available specifically outside of the city of Charleston until the first of the year, we will be growing very steadily. Yeah. Now, Berkeley Co-op is also offering a similar program to SCENG. And in fact, Santee Cooper is probably going to start one at the beginning of the year as well. One of the things that you should know is that there's a huge drive by the energy utilities in our state to focus on energy efficiency. And so that's why you see the SCENGs, the Berkeley Electrics, and the Santee Coopers running these programs. They're specifically designed to help increase energy efficiency. And so all of those programs we will have the ability to fold in our Charleston Wise rebates on top of. Now, don't quote me on this, but I believe that Berkeley Electric Cooperative is offering access to financing. And that's financing. And I believe it's very low interest financing. And so if you have a client that wants to include it in there, that's one of the options that they have. I'm not really sure about what Santee Cooper is going to be offering, but you can expect them to launch their program here in the next few weeks, I'm guessing. Now, the upstate, or the rest of South Carolina, obviously we're targeting specifically Charleston at this point, hence the name Charleston Wise. But SCENG serves a very large area, as do the co-ops, as do Santee Cooper. And so you can expect many of these programs to be available in any of these municipalities. So, and we can help you gain access to those with your clients if you had one of those. That's a great question. The question for anyone who doesn't have the ability to see it is, what is typically the cost for having somebody come out and perform an energy assessment? Let me tell you what I have seen as part of our program, but ultimately one of the things that we want to be able to do is you provide the request to us and we'll send it out to bid to try and get you the cheapest. What we found is that the energy assessment typically costs somewhere between $400 and $600 total. Now, what that would include is a pre-test to establish the scope of work and a post-test to make sure that all those goals were accomplished. And so, again, there you go with guaranteed energy efficiency. Now, both our program and SCENG's program will have the ability to offset that cost pretty dramatically. Initially, Charleston Wise offers a $200 rebate off the cost of that assessment. So does SCENG. And so if you're looking at a cost between $400 and $600, you're looking at an overall cost of the client at $200. Now, what I'm finding is that many of the contractors who work in this industry are also offering a $200 rebate off the cost of that assessment in order for them to get the job. And so really, the grand scheme, yes, the value of this service is around $600, but the nice part is our rebates and other rebates more or less offset that cost. Were there any other questions? That one that says TY? Oh, okay. So again, feel free to contact me with any questions. And one of the things that I'll ask staff here to do, and Liz, if you wouldn't mind, is to be able to send out the press kit. I'm going to see if anybody has access to that. It is available at sustainabilityinstitute.sc.org/CharlestonWise. And so if you want to go to that now, feel free. But otherwise, I can send you that press kit available by email. All right. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Feel free to give us a call for any questions.